Hello, I am Dipali. Welcome to City Reporter Jaipur. It sounds like you have an interesting podcast episode lined up discussing the Ranji Trophy match and the performances of Indian players. The Ranji Trophy is always a hot topic, especially with the ups and downs of various players' performances. What specific aspects of the match or players will you be focusing on? Are there any standout stories or controversies that you think will capture your audience's attention? Let's dive into the discussion.
All right, so anyone who's interested in Indian cricket knows that some big names are hoping to make a comeback, and we're going to try to get to the bottom of it. We're taking a deep dive into the Ranji Trophy.
Right.
It's basically where players in India go to really hone their skills.
Yeah, it's a proving ground.
Yeah.
For sure.
Big time proving ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting the timing of all of this because the Champions Trophy is coming up, which is a big deal.
Huge.
And you'd think that players would be using the Ranji Trophy to, get in form.
Right.
But some of the results have been a little bit head-scratching.
Let's talk about Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
Okay, he is the captain of the Indian team powerhouse on the international stage.
Absolutely.
This is the first time he's played in the Ranji Trophy in almost a decade.
Yeah.
So everybody was expecting big things.
I mean, he's known for his aggressive batting style.
Right.
Like, he just makes it look so effortless. He can just destroy bowling attacks.
Oh, yeah.
With his pull shots and his drives, it's just beautiful to watch.
So effortless.
But
yeah.
In a turn of events that I don't think anybody expected, he only managed 3 runs in his first innings.
Wow.
For a guy that has multiple double centuries in one-day internationals,
right,
that's a pretty shocking result.
It is alarming. And you know what is going on?
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a rough go of it lately.
Yeah.
Disappointing in the test series against New Zealand.
Yeah.
And Australia. So, the pressure is definitely on.
For sure.
To deliver in the Champions Trophy, not only as a batsman, but as captain.
Oh, absolutely. And, a captain's form.
Right.
Really affects the entire team's morale.
For sure.
I mean, and the Champions Trophy, this is a big deal.
Right.
It's the top cricketing nations. They're all competing against each other.
Yeah.
And it's a much faster pace than, Test cricket.
Right.
So for somebody like Rohit, who thrives on, confidence and momentum,
yeah,
this slump couldn't have come at a worse time.
No, it really couldn't have.
Oops.
No. And it's not just Rohit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about other key players who are expected to do really well in the Champions Trophy.
Right.
Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
Rising star. A lot of people see him as, Rohit's future opening partner.
Uh-huh.
Only managed 4 runs.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And then there's Rishabh Pant.
Okay.
The wicketkeeper batsman,
Yeah.
known for just
fearless
hitting.
Yeah.
He only got a single run.
Wow.
So, this isn't just like a one-off thing.
Right.
There seems to be something going on.
A pattern.
Yeah, like a pattern of underperformance.
Yeah. And it's really striking when you look at the Mumbai team as a whole.
Oh, totally.
I mean, they got so many big names, but they've been struggling.
Yeah.
Collectively.
Well, and you think about it, you've got, along with Rohit, you got Yashasvi Jaiswal,
Okay.
Ajinkya Rahane,
Right.
Shreyas Iyer.
Yep.
I mean, all these guys have played for India at the highest level, and none of them really made a significant impact in the Ranji Trophy.
It's really head scratch.
Makes you wonder what's going on.
What is going on?
With the Mumbai team.
Yeah, so here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
After India's kind of disappointing performance in Australia, the BCCI, the Board of Control for Cricket in India,
Right.
decided to do something pretty drastic.
Okay.
They made it mandatory for all the fit players
Oh, wow.
to participate in domestic cricket.
So they had to play.
They had to play.
Huh.
And it's an interesting move.
Yeah.
I mean, the intention was probably to get these guys, more match practice.
Right, getting back in form.
Back in form, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of makes you wonder,
Yeah.
about the impact of like a mandate like that
Right.
on player motivation.
Yeah, were they excited to be there?
Right. Were they just going through the motions?
Yeah, were they happy to be back in the Ranji Trophy, or did it feel like a punishment?
Right, like an obligation.
Yeah.
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 That's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, were these guys truly motivated, or were they just phoning it in?
Totally.
Yeah. Let's unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
So, could this mandate have actually added more pressure?
Well, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine you're like a world-class athlete.
Right.
And somebody tells you you have to go play in this tournament.
Yeah.
It's almost like a step backwards.
Yeah.
Like a demotion even.
Yeah.
And that can really mess with you mentally.
For sure.
Especially if you're already struggling.
Yeah.
With your form and stuff.
Right. Just like they're in a lose-lose situation.
Right.
They're already feeling the pressure to perform, and then you add this on top of it.
Cricket's such a mental game.
Oh, yeah.
Especially at that level. I mean,
Right.
when you're struggling with self-doubt, and then you add external pressure on top of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it can really affect your focus, your decision-making.
Yeah, your whole game.
Yeah, your whole game.
So, okay, how do we explain all of these, weird results in the Ranji Trophy?
Right.
I mean, is it just this pressure from the BCCI mandate, or is there something else going on?
Well, I mean, I think it's probably a combination of things.
Right.
But we also have to remember that the Ranji Trophy itself is a pressure cooker.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
These guys are playing for teams.
yeah, these guys are representing teams with tons of history,
Right.
passionate fan bases.
Yeah.
I mean, the expectations are always sky high.
Especially for a team like Mumbai.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, so it's not just the pressure from the BCCI.
Right.
It's the pressure of the Ranji Trophy itself.
It's the pressure of the entire tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we have to think about the match practice.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these guys have been focusing on, the shorter formats of the game.
Like 2020.
Right, 2020.
Yeah.
Which is,
It
totally
really is a
different.
different skill set.
Right, it's like a sprint versus a marathon.
It is. Totally.
So to go back to this longer format,
Yeah.
first-class cricket,
That adjustment can take some time.
it can.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we can't forget about the competition in the Ranji Trophy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, domestic cricket in India is...
It's tough.
It's tough.
really competitive now.
Yeah, you can't just walk in there and
Right.
expect to dominate.
No, these teams have great bowlers.
They've got some good players.
They got good fielders. I mean, they can challenge anybody.
Right. So it's, like you said, it's a combination of things.
It's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
You got the pressure from the BCCI. You got the pressure of the Ranji Trophy itself.
Uh-huh.
The possible lack of match practice.
Right.
And then, you're facing really stiff competition.
Right.
So it's no wonder that some of these guys are having a tough time.
Yeah, it kind of puts it all in perspective
It does.
a little bit.
It's a good reminder that, even the most talented athletes
Right.
face setbacks. But the real question is, can they bounce back?
Right, because the Champions Trophy is right around the corner.
It's coming up.
And India needs these guys
They need them to perform.
to perform.
Yeah.
So what's the solution? How do they turn things around?
Right.
How do they get their groove back
How you
in
perform?
time for this big tournament?
I think a lot of it goes back to the basics.
Okay.
Spending time in the nets,
Yeah.
really working on their technique, finding their rhythm,
Right.
getting that confidence back.
It's like hitting the reset button.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just strip it all back
Yeah.
to the fundamentals
Yeah.
and start rebuilding from there.
And then also, obviously, getting as much quality match practice as they can.
As possible. Yeah. I mean,
Right. Whether that's playing more domestic cricket
right.
or doing some kind of specialized training.
Yeah. Go into a training camp
Right.
where they can face, top-notch bowling
Right.
in a match-like situation.
Yeah. It's mental and physical.
It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, this mandate from the BCCI,
Yeah.
as controversial as it is,
Mm-hmm.
might have been what these guys needed.
It could be the push they needed
Yeah.
to really, confront their weaknesses, to
Mhm.
work on their game,
Yeah.
and prove themselves all over again.
It's a wake-up call.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But, okay, let's be realistic for a second.
Okay.
What if these guys don't find their form?
Right.
What if they can't get it back in time?
Yeah.
For the Champions Trophy, what are India's options?
Well, that's where things get really interesting
Okay.
because India has a lot of really talented cricketers
Okay.
who are just waiting for their chance.
Right, like their bench strength is
Oh, it's deep.
deep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So give us the rundown. Who are these guys?
All right, so let's start with the opening slot.
Okay.
If Rohit or Shubman
Right.
don't regain their form, somebody like Ruturaj Gaikwad could be a really strong contender.
Ruturaj Gaikwad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got that named in.
He's been doing really well in domestic cricket.
Okay.
He's known for being technically very sound.
Yeah.
And just racking up the runs.
Okay, so Ruturaj Gaikwad. Anybody else we should be looking out for?
Oh, yeah, tons of guys. I mean, for the middle order, you've got Surya Kumar Yadav.
Right.
He's a batsman, and he's got this really unconventional style.
Really?
Yeah, he's known for his 360-degree hitting.
Wow.
Like, he can score runs all over the field.
That's impressive.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It makes him really dangerous in these limited overs matches.
Right.
And then there's Deepak Huda, who can bat in the middle order, but he's also a really good off-spin bowler.
Oh, so he's like an all-rounder.
Yeah, exactly.
That's huge in a tournament like this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Surya Kumar Yadav. His aggressive batting could really shake things up.
Absolutely.
If the other guys aren't performing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what about the wicketkeeper spot? If Rishabh Pant doesn't get it together.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else?
Well, Ishan Kishan is a name that comes to mind.
Okay.
He's a left-handed wicketkeeper batsman.
Okay.
And he can also open the innings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's pretty versatile.
Right.
He's known for scoring runs quickly.
I mean, we've seen it in the IPL.
Oh, yeah. He can be explosive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, it is reassuring to know that, even if these other guys don't perform, India has options.
They've got backup.
Yeah. For sure. But it is hard to imagine, replacing guys like Rohit and Gill and Pant and Iyer.
I mean, they're the veterans.
Yeah.
They've got the experience.
Right. They've played on the biggest stage.
Yeah, against the best in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, their presence definitely is a certain level of confidence.
For sure.
To the team.
So this whole Ranji Trophy thing has given us a lot to think about.
It really has.
It's a little concerning to see these big names not playing well. But on the flip side, it is kind of exciting to see these younger players.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping up.
For sure.
And trying to earn their spot.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time for Indian cricket.
It is.
Almost like we're seeing a changing of the guard.
Right, a new generation.
Yeah, exactly.
And as India gets ready for the Champions Trophy, I mean, the big question is, can the old guard get back to their winning ways?
Right.
Or is this the beginning of a new era?
It's the question on everybody's mind.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have to wait and see.
I think so, too.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
We've talked about the Ranji Trophy and some of these really, unexpected results.
Yeah.
We've talked about potential solutions.
Yeah.
And we've even looked at some of the, up-and-coming talent.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It has.
Well, and to all of our listeners out there.
Yeah.
As you're thinking about the future of this Indian team, just remember the Champions Trophy is going to be epic.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
It's going to be a tournament where, legends are made and history is written.
Can't wait to see what happens.
We'll be watching for sure.